Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Cars and Health Bars. On today's episode, we are joined by Gmay. The former WKU student won the championship with his team of threes in Rocket League. We're going to jump into some of his thoughts on the state of esports. With that being said, guys, let's get right into it. So as you heard in the intro, we are joined tonight by none other than Gmay of Western Kentucky University, formerly. How are you doing, Gavin?
I'm doing very swell. How are you doing, Josh?
I'm doing great. So, man, very exciting. An interview that got kind of moved around a little bit, but we're here. We're ready to do it, and I could not be more excited and ready to tackle this interview.
I'm not. I couldn't be more excited to do this interview. I've been waiting on it for a long time. Glad to finally get on the podcast with you guys. Get
Def-
this knocked out.
Definitely. I guess first off, I just kind of want to know, you've of course like extremely recently gotten out of college. I want to know what uh that did for you as far as like Rocket League. Like, do you still view Rocket League the same? You played it competitively for so long. I kind of want to know how you feel about the game now that you're not under so much pressure to do well.
I would say the way that I view Rocket League now, other than just a pastime, like I'm just enjoying the game a lot more now. Like just playing how I want to play. Obviously, I still have a goal of what I want, but just knowing I don't have to meet that goal is just amazing. Uh, as far as like from when I started playing, like me and Jordan, we just played to play, not really
Hmm.
competitive. Like we just play ranked, see where it went. And
Well, we
then one
played
day we
casual
found,
first.
oh yeah, we played casual for probably like 3 months, like only. And then we was like, ooh, you want to play ranked?
Huh.
Yeah, just like a very, very casual vibe, that it was just a game to play. And then one day we found esports, and in less than a year after, we went and watched the world championship. And I think that's what set it all in motion.
Yeah.
Like I got to see everything going like that, and I was like, man, I really want to do something along these lines. That's freaking awesome. Like that was an amazing experience.
It's really
So,
unique. It's really unique that
yeah.
it came all like full circle, especially if our viewers aren't familiar, you finished off your school year with you winning, your team winning the championship. So it's almost like it came full circle at the very end of your esports career here. Well,
Yeah,
at least college.
absolutely. Like, yeah, yeah. No, we can go ahead and call this the end of the career. But yeah,
Hmm.
no, like it really does. Like I sat there, watched the world championship, and I got more and more into the competitive scene, just wanting to get better. And then I started college, and it took about a year into college before I finally looked to see if the esports program was even a thing, which it was. And dude, I practiced my heart out, and finally, and I made the team. And all that time that I spent, I think I spent 4 years on the team. And the furthest that I had ever made it was the first round of the playoffs in the tournament. And going into my last semester, I was also like, I gave it all that I had. Uh, it is what it is. But then one day my coach was like, "Hey, you got to sub in. Guy can't make it." And as soon as I played that game with this roster that I ended up winning with, as soon as I played, I was like, "Wait, this is something special. This is what I've been waiting for." And as soon as that happened, like I was begging the coach, was like, "Hey, give me one more shot. Come on, like I'm feeling it again. I'm back."
Yeah.
And needless to say, I was like, we just kept getting opportunities we didn't think we would. Like we didn't think we was even making the playoffs. And then getting into the playoffs, we were like, okay, it's playoffs. It's gonna go how it's always gone for me. And then we just kept winning, and we kept winning, and yeah, just close it out. Like you said, full circle, amazing experience for me to really feel like I had a start and end on my path as a Rocket League player.
It's almost like the story of a movie almost. It's like it just
I'm telling you.
the events that occurred in that last year of your
Hmm.
esports is like it's like the stars aligned in every single possible way they could have.
Like even it's funny, like you could keep calling it like rising action. Like whenever I was feeling like, okay, yeah, that it's over. I gave it my all. I'm just gonna be a sub this semester. Like that's when the hero is like defeated, and then all one's just like, no, he can do it. Yeah, no, it was an amazing. It's just been an amazing ride.
So was that WKU's first esports championship win?
Um, Apparently our League of Legends team also last semester was in another tournament that they ended up winning.
Oh wow.
Uh, yeah, yeah, I didn't know about that until today. Actually, our not organizer, like not the top dog. She's a graduate assistant.
Okay.
But she really controls a lot of the things dealing directly with the players. But she finally announced it today that the Rocket League and League of Legends team won something last semester.
That's awesome.
But we are definitely the first Rocket League team to win a championship.
Well, that's always a title that can't be taken away. You can't be the first twice. That's really awesome.
He the number one.
Really,
Mhm.
so of course with playing, having to practice, just like a football player, you guys had to practice, after school, during school, what have you. But how were you able to balance, studies with also gaming, trying to practice Rocket League and everything?
Man, it was a struggle. I'm not gonna lie. Like it, and anything like that is like if you're gonna spend time on something other than school while you're in school, it's definitely gonna make things harder. And then throw into the ring that I also had to what the scholarship didn't pay for, I had to pay for out of my pocket.
Yeah.
So I had to work through college. Um, so I have to. My time was very slim for studies and homework, but I did get lucky in the sense that you know, if that's what you want to call it, if you want to call it lucky, our practices were they started fairly late in the day, about 6 o'clock, and my last couple years, my classes just so happened to be getting out at like 2 o'clock at the latest. So I had a nice little gap on nice little time gap to just sit somewhere on campus and work on anything I needed to work on. So if I didn't have that little free time, it would have been a lot harder than it already was. Because yeah, I know that there's some projects where I literally was only able to work on for like 2 hours a week, and we was getting close to the deadline. I'm like, dude, I emailed my professor. I was like, hey, like, I'm behind. I there's no way I'm getting this done. Grade it however you want to. Goodbye. But yeah.
It's kind of funny because a lot of the times, you think of, playing video games is procrastinating. We procrastinate to, our homework by playing video games, but you're actually like practicing. It's something you got to do. It's kind of funny how that works.
Oh yeah, my parents are the exact same as just about any other parent. Whenever I was growing up, they were like, dude, you need to get off of that video game. Put it down. Go outside. Make friends. And I'd always tell them, I'm making friends. But, they don't understand. But then it's funny because, like I said, I had to pay. I was mostly paying my own way through college. And then I get a scholarship for playing video games, the thing that they were telling me not to do all this time. And whenever I showed them how much my scholarship was, they were like, whoa. Like, you're really getting this for playing video games. And they joke about it themselves now. Like whenever they're talking to family friends, they're like, yeah, no, we told him we were wrong. We told him to go play to get off the video games, and here he is putting him through college.
Yeah, it's just like a different time. I feel like it's the same way with like content creators, like young YouTubers. They're like, hey mom, like I'm making money doing this, and like the whole psycho dad thing where he's like, stop playing those video games, there's no money in that. And in reality, the times are changing. Yeah, we are. It's like it's kind of crazy.
Absolutely. Yeah, I remember whenever I was young, YouTube was first starting to pop off, and man, as soon as I saw my first YouTube video, I was like, dude, I would love to do something like this. And I even I remember this so vividly. I don't know why my brain was like, we're holding on to that memory, but I remember this so vividly. I'm talking, this was 2009, 2010, and I saw these YouTubers, and I was like, my mom was like, do you even know what you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, I want to be a YouTuber. Like that sounds so cool. And she literally looked at me and said, "You're not going to be a slacker." I was like,
Oh my
"Oh,
God.
okay." I was like, "Holy shit, really?" Like, and like my brain just held on to that because like I'm a guy that really lives out of spite. So as soon as someone tells me that's not how it's going to be, I'm like, okay, well, I want to show you that it can be.
Yeah.
Homie said bet.
Yeah, I really did. I
Challenge
knew
accepted.
some way in my life I was going to find a way to make money off of something technology or in the internet, something. I was going to find a way to make money off of it, and I ended up doing it. So yeah, like that must have been the moment that set it all in place. Like as soon as she said, "You're not going to be a slacker," I was like, "It's not slacking. It's work. I'm doing this." Yeah.
So with
Granted, it was a little bit of a different path, but yeah.
hey, I mean, if it pays, it pays.
Right.
No doubt.
So with I want to know about some of the challenges you faced with like some of the harder sides of playing Rocket League at that level, because obviously me, Jordan, anybody who's just not playing in your circumstance, if we get mad at a game, we stop playing, we take a break from it, but in that case, it's not really an option for you. You are playing the game for college.
Oh,
Like, you just can't. I mean, I guess you can drop out and quit, but that's not really that easy of an option for you as if it was for me or Jordan getting mad at like Rocket League and being like, all right, I'm uninstalling for a few months.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, it is all mental. Like I learned that very early on. Like this is going to take a gigantic mental shift. Like cuz not only do you have to put the time in, but like you said, you can't let yourself get overly mad at it. Which to anyone that's played Rocket League knows that's a tall task. But so yeah, like I would say the big as far as challenges, I'll get back to the mental state, but as far as challenges, it's the time that I wasn't able to be home because it was almost like this was my daily. It was wake up really early, get to class all the way in Bowling Green, which was a 40-minute drive for me. And then, like I said, I would have that 4 hours of free time, but I had to stay on campus. I couldn't go home. So I had to stay there and find something to occupy myself. And then here's practice, and that could go either way on really good or have a lot of really bad days. And then it was even harder on the really bad days. You're getting off at 9 o'clock, and now I have to drive 40 minutes back home, like either pissed or upset or just in a bad mental state. And then I finally get home, get to see my wife, and go to bed, do it all over again. And it was just that for 4 years. So that was probably one of the biggest challenges that stayed with me consistently. But I would say the challenge that I'm very happy that I was able to tackle it very early on was the whole mental problem, because you guys know me, before college, like I was a controller breaking guy. Like Rocket League would make me upset.
I remember.
Oh yeah. And getting in there, I was fortunate enough to the first few weeks to months, I'll be honest, like none of us were really good yet. Like I said, we never made it past the first round of playoffs. Hell, I think my first 2 seasons didn't even make it to playoffs. So it's not. We were just playing the game essentially. We're still trying to figure this out with me joining this roster. Heck, I think when I joined, we had like 5 new players on a roster that holds 9 people. So we're all still trying to figure this out. And I think that really made it easy for me to make that mental shift to like, okay, I have my personal time playing. I can get a little upset at that, but if I'm here, I need to lock in. I'm here for a reason, and that reason is to compete, to deal with my teammates, to just learn. That's the big one, learn. So it takes an entire mental shift. Like you guys probably remember like me playing Rocket League, sitting in the call with you guys, even during this college stuff. If I'm not in college, I'm still gonna get mad. But in that practice room, there were very few times that like I really let myself get upset. I did have quite a few blowups in my first semester. I won't lie. Like I said, we didn't make playoffs, and we're still trying to figure it out. And an infamous legend was born that first semester, which was Game 5 Gmay. And Game 5, which is, if y'all don't know, most Rocket League matches are played in the best of 5 series. So it's the first team to win 3 games wins the match. And so Game 5, that's the last game. That's the tiebreaker. Yeah, that's winner takes all.
Yeah.
And Game 5 Gmay is a guy who cannot play in a Game 5. Like Game 5 comes and is any skill I have out the window. I remember my first semester, there was specifically a moment where as soon as I saw that ball roll in on Game 5, I chucked my controller to the ground and I had to walk outside and just stand for 5 minutes because I was like, I'm not going to yell at my teammates because that was my fault. That was my fault. But yeah, and then so once you get past the anger side of a game like Rocket League, then the biggest mental hurdle. Oh God, my computer's trying to go to sleep. Then the biggest mental hurdle of competing in Rocket League is staying confident. Like there were many times where we would lose a game, and we were still in the match, but like there's just that tiny voice in my head that says, "Dude, you cost that game, and now you're making it that much harder for them for you guys to win." I'm like, I know, shut up.
Yeah, I feel like if someone popped off on me, I'd be like, damn, this dude is out of my league.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's so many guys you play like that, and they just like they hit something so perfectly on you, and you're like, how do I compete against that?
Yeah.
So like I said, it just takes a real mental shift to go from how do I compete against that to that was a good shot, I'm coming back. And I think that right there was the big one. My last semester, I shut everything out. Like I did not let a single thing get to me. I could tell I have one teammate, J Bell, who that was the start of his second year. He was still dealing with some of the issues that I dealt with. And then we had a new guy, Killer Cod, who I could tell he was definitely trying to get used to all of this. But in my games, like I would try to keep them up, I'm like, hey, come on, we're good. Like, yeah, we just lost 5-0, but that was last game. Now we're in this game. Like, what's the problem here? Like I think that's what really helped me in my last semester. I just shut everything out and I'm like, I'm playing Rocket League how I want to. No one's gonna stop me. Granted, people did stop me twice, but that's the mindset you got to go into. Like, no one's stopping me. I'm playing my game, play on my terms, play with my team, and we're gonna win this game. It's all mental. That was the biggest challenges, is changing your entire mental state.
Shit, it's like that even not in college on there.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
It's such a mental hurdle just to play that game with random teammates at a high level, I would say.
Absolutely. Like if I hadn't been on the team, I probably would have been like you, Jordan. I would have uninstalled this game so many times at this point.
I've only installed probably 3 to 5 times, I would say.
3 to 5.
Yeah.
That's not a lot for 200 plus days of playtime.
That's true. Yeah, I think that's also the other thing. Like the fact that it forced me to stay in. Like I couldn't uninstall. Like it's literally like, hey, you better figure it out, or you're probably not getting a scholarship. So I was like, hi, I guess that's what we're doing. I guess I'll figure it out.
So you mentioned Jay and Killer Cod. What are like some relationships that you formed through the Rocket League community, or maybe even just the college community, that like helped you kind of get some valuable connections and relationships through esports?
The number one guy I would have to shout out is the man who ended up being my coach, Mr. Juno. His real name's Isaac, but yeah. We started at the exact same time. He was on A team, I was on B team. And then the next year, I got lucky enough to have him come down to B team with me. Dang, sucks for him. He's off of A team, but hey, look, you're with me now, so we're running this up. And we got another teammate that year. That was just a really fun year. The first semester was kind of rough, but the second semester has always been my favorite semester ever playing Rocket League until this past semester. Because man, playing with Juno is just so fun. He's just such a likable guy. He's just such a likable guy. And then also throw into the mix that me and him had the same major. So since we started at the same time and we had the same major, we shared a lot of classes together. So we became way more than just teammates. We became really good friends. And while I'm mentioning the whole class thing, I'll go ahead and say my boy Avery. He was on the A team the entire time he was there. He's an amazing Rocket League player, amazing guy. And he was the same situation. He started at the same time me and Juno did. He graduated with me. Like, I'm glad I got to know who that guy is. Glad I got to make him my friend. And then Juno, like I said, get back on him. After that amazing year that I had with him, he got to become my coach. And he just stepped right into that role, man. Like, he did not hold back at all. And I, to this day, really believe that he is putting in way more effort than any coach at Western Kentucky University, because he's done so many things for us out of his own pocket and out of his own time, just to give us like a quality feeling in this program. Like, he's held banquets out of his own pocket. He like prints off these certificates and these awards and gives them to us. And hell, when we won NACE this past semester, it didn't come in till just a few days ago, but he even with his own money bought me, Jay, and Michael trophies with our names engraved on them. Like,
wow.
He's just such, yeah, shout out to Juno, man. He's just such a guy. I'm so glad I got to know him because he's so cool.
Yeah,
that's what it's about.
And then I got J Bell, of course. I really am glad. He's just so enthusiastic about everything he does. Like, when he first started, he was a freshman. Let's see, 2022. He was a freshman in 2022. Fall of 2022, he was a freshman, and that summer, he was a Diamond 3, and he's messaging me like, "Hey, I'm thinking about getting on this team. You want to run some games?" And from that point, I just like stepped into a mentor role.
Oh, nice.
And then actually, no, I lied. It wasn't summer he reached out to me, but after his tryouts, I was in his tryouts, and Isaac was like, "Yeah, we got these Diamond 3s coming in," and I found Jay. And he was there 2 hours early for the freaking tryouts, man. Just sitting outside of the room because the room was locked. He's just sitting out there. And I see this guy play, and I'm like, yeah, he's definitely a diamond. But me and Isaac saw the same thing. I was like, dude, he's got some potential, man. So we picked him up. I think we even picked him up over a champion player.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we did.
I think it was a move.
Yeah, because he just had something to him. Like, he had the drive. He was motivated, man. And then sure enough, he was also in my major. So I didn't share any classes with him, but I was able to mentor him, like, in the computer science field, like computer science major, like how to navigate your classes, keep him motivated, and also teaching him competitive Rocket League because he already knew how to play. He was a freestyler before, so he already had like solid foundation. It's just teaching him how to play with a team and in a competition rather than just hopping in ranked.
Yeah.
And it took him a while to, get to know this stuff. But after a while, like, our relationship just grew closer and closer. To this day, out of all the WK Esports players, he still says he's played the most games with me just because of how much me and him were motivated to improve and get better. And I'm telling you, like I said, he started when he was a Diamond 3. And by the end of the semester, he was a grand champion too. Like, wow. That kid is so motivated to get better. Yeah, he's on it. He's better than me. Like, he became better than me at the game in a semester. But as far as in a competition setting, I think he definitely reached. He hasn't reached his potential yet. He's still growing, but he definitely passed me up this past semester. He'll probably say he didn't pass me up, but I'd say if anything, he hopped onto my level of a competitive playing field. And now this current semester that they're in, he's moved his way up to the A team. I'm very proud of the guy. Makes me feel good that it kind of all started with me. Like, hey, look, you got to do this instead.
Yeah, it's like you might not have planted the seed, but you're definitely nourishing that growth.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, it's just so good to get to know him. And we still talk to this day, just joking around with each other. The other day, I played Rocket League with him just to play Rocket League with him, like that's the teammate I won the freaking championship with. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, he's always going to hold a special place in my heart. And I haven't had much interaction with Killer College Michael outside of, practice, but from the experiences I have had with him, he's a pretty solid. That's the great thing. Everyone there, they're all just so passionate about what they do, and they just want to get better. They want to compete. They just all have this competitive drive to them, and I love that in anybody. And just being able to talk to these guys that I never would have met in any other circumstances, other than probably Isaac and Avery, because we shared classes. But being able to meet these people that I never would have met, and they were all just so cool, so fun to get to know, so fun to talk to. Like it's just such a great experience that I would never pass up again, ever.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the interactions I've had with him, especially Jay. I love playing with Jay.
Yeah, he's fun, man. He's a funny guy.
He fits right in.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I've talked to
absolutely.
him a few times, and I thought he was a really chill guy.
Yeah, his sense of humor is nothing like nothing I've seen. He's goofy.
So he's continuing to the next semester, and that kind of brings me into what I wanted to talk about. Of course, you're on the other side of the perspective here, but in your opinion, what do you see in the future of esports? Like, especially in like the education field, like, do you see that there's going to be more grants, more scholarships, more schools getting involved with esports? Like, how do you see the growth pace for esports and even Rocket League? Whatever video game you want to delve into.
So I can kind of break this down into two parts. We can talk about esports as a whole, and we can talk about collegiate esports. And this is my personal opinion, because as of right now, if you go on to X, Twitter, all you see is just constant news about esports layoffs and esports cutbacks, and esports is just on a downward trend from its peak during COVID. Like, and it sucks to see, man, because everyone's so passionate about watching this. But I mean, if you really take a step back and look, like, what revenue is being generated? Like, you can watch games for free. It's not like an NFL game where, yeah, you can watch it at home, but you can also pay to go watch the game. There's nothing like that for esports. So, like, they are solely dependent on merch and advertising, like getting sponsorships. Like for Rocket League, at least, I don't know if other esports games do the similar things, but in Rocket League, they've given these esports companies decals, their own custom decals, and here lately they've been putting sponsorships on their decals, kind of like you'd see in NASCAR. Like, I know my favorite team, G2, they have a giant Adidas logo just on the side of their decal, which, I respect it. But I mean, because like that's what you got to do to try to generate some revenue. So I think esports in itself is in a scary place right now. It's a very uncertain future. I think it's always going to be around, but as far as have we hit its peak or not, I don't know. I surely hope not, because I feel like esports could still grow so much more than where it's at right now. But with the way things are going, unless there's a change, I don't think esports itself is going to really get better. there's gonna have to be a big change. Like money has to come in somehow. I don't have the answers. People way smarter than me hopefully will find answers. So esports itself is in a scary place, but collegiate esports, now that's a different topic, because to get into esports as a professional, like to get into professional esports, you have to find a team, just pick one, root for them, and then there's all these roster moves, and you kind of get confused, and it's a lot. It's really a lot. But then when you get into collegiate esports, now that's really easy to build a fan base. You're playing for your school. like I don't even play Valorant or Overwatch or League of Legends, but I mean I will turn on a game and I'm like, hey, let's go WKU, baby. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a lot easier for, I feel like it's going to be a lot easier for the collegiate scene to grow, because you're going to be able to get eyes on it, and you're going to be able to get fans on it a lot easier than you're going to be able to get Joe and Susan to turn on a professional esports thing and be like, yo, who the heck is Cloud9? You know? Like,
Yeah.
but you know, they could, if the collegiate esports scene keeps growing, they're like, hey, yo, there's a Kentucky game on tonight. There's a Kentucky Rocket League game going on right now. Like, let's turn that on. Let's watch that. You know, like people know who they are. And like I said, unless esports grows, then no one's ever gonna. No one who doesn't know about esports is gonna know about esports. But you don't have to know about esports to know who LSU is, to know who Penn State is. You don't have to know about esports. You know who they are, and you're like, oh, what's this, esports? Oh, let me turn that on. So because of that, I feel like collegiate esports definitely is nowhere near its peak. We're seeing more and more like full rides being given out. Like whenever I first started, WKU was among the top 5 in the nation on paid scholarships, and I'm not trying to like diss them. Like I loved the money I was getting from that scholarship, but I'll go ahead and say, like, it, in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't that much money. It really wasn't. And then as the years went on, Western Kentucky University is absolutely dusted now because of how many schools are giving full rides, and there's more and more schools giving full rides or just big scholarships just to play esports. Like, and I obviously hope WKU someday will follow in that trend, because I want nothing more than to see that program grow, and I believe it will grow, especially after, hate to toot my own horn, but especially after, you know, we've won a championship, a league won a championship, our Valorant team's getting better and better. Like that's more eyes getting on us. The more we succeed in, the more eyes turn on us, not only from our students, but from other people. And the more eyes that are on us, the more revenue's getting generated. The more revenue's getting generated, the more we can afford to get these better players and win more. And, you know, and I'm sure we're not the only school in a situation like that. So yeah, collegiate esports, man, it's exciting to see what it can do. Like for Rocket League, at least, CRL is in a rough spot right now because all of esports is. But I mean, they're even hosting these world championships, like events, like these LAN events for college esports. Like, yeah. So like, I really feel like it could be on a level of pro. But as far as like getting new eyes on it, I feel like it's going to be a lot easier to get new eyes onto a collegiate scene than new eyes onto a professional scene. Like obviously professional scene right now still dusts collegiate scenes and viewerships, but I would not be surprised if in the future that viewership gap declines. So I'm very hopeful for collegiate esports, but obviously it still will follow the trend of esports as a whole if esports as a whole doesn't get better.
I think it'll grow. I see esports just growing with the more people getting into it every year, and just gaming in general.
Yeah, I feel like that's the biggest issue with like you said, you know, this not bringing in as much revenue. Well, it's not a football game that people pay tickets to go and watch. You know, like you said, it's just a live stream that anybody can pop into. You don't even have to have a Twitch account to watch it. You know.
Absolutely.
So it's really unfortunate that they are in that situation. I feel like if there was more LAN style like matches, maybe, but at the same time too, it's just I don't know. I'm with Jordan. I feel like it will take off. It's just you just got to give it time because we're still in a stage to where people who are into video games are starting to become, well, of course there's always been, but there's a large group of people becoming adults who are into gaming, and it's, I would say it's just harder to support something like this as opposed to like a football team or something that's been supported for like decade or generations.
Yeah, and I agree. The only issue I see is there's a lot of, because esports is a blanket term. There's a lot of esports that I gave that example earlier. Of like a Joe and Susan. Just like a middle-aged people who don't know shit about video games,
Yeah.
and they say they do see a game going on, some kind of esports game like League of Legends. They turn it on, man. They're not going to know what's going on.
No.
Like that's the only hard part. Like there's esports is just so
you got to already be invested.
There's so many different, there's so many different games, and unless you know what that game is, you're not gonna know what's going on.
It's not like a sports, like a typical ball game where it's like obviously it's kind of easy to tell you got to put a ball in a net or in a goal, and you got like Valorant, like is it survival? Is it a death match? What is it?
Yeah. Like after you watch it a little bit, then you can start to understand it. But I mean, that's unfortunately in this day and age, our attention spans are just so bad. Like after like you turn it on, like I said, I've watched a league match and I didn't know I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss, but like I don't know what the heck's going on, so like I can't, like I can imagine if I were to turn on some other, like I've even played Rainbow Six Siege, right? But I could just tell if I were to watch a Rainbow Six Siege professional tournament, I'm lost. Like I don't know what the hell I don't know what the hell's going on. After 5 minutes, I'm probably switching to something. Like
I feel like out of all the esports, at least that WKU offers, I feel like Rocket League is the easier one to watch for somebody that isn't really like into esports or like video games in general. Because it's like, and even with me, I don't play Rocket League. I've tried it a couple times, but it just ain't for me. But like, man, I get into it. Like especially whenever you were working your way through the playoff games, dude. I was losing it. I was like hoping and hollering. My wife would be like, "What are you going on about?" I'm like, "Gavin just balled him out, man!" Like. I'm over here like cheering and stuff. It's just Rocket League is the easier one to slip into, in my opinion, because it's car soccer.
Absolutely, yeah. And and I'm obviously biased in saying that. That's why I was waiting to see if one of y'all would say it. Like I'm obviously biased in saying that, but I fully believe the same thing. Like whenever me and Jordan went to go watch Worlds, my parents, who only knew of Rocket League as that game Gavin plays, They were texting me while me and Jordan was at Worlds, like, I'm rooting for NRG this time. I'm like, are you watching? They're like, yeah. I'm like, what the hell? Like it's just it is so much easier to get into because it's soccer. Everyone knows soccer, and it's literally just cars. And to make things even more clear of what's going on, it's red and blue or orange.
Yeah.
Like
very simple.
Pick a color.
It's so easy to get into. Like, if you didn't get into it when it came out, man, you really missed out because that game just, it's just so different. I've never played another game like it.
So I really think, like I agree with you guys. I really think esports ceiling hasn't been reached. I hope it hasn't been reached, but I don't think it has. And I certainly feel that for Rocket League esports because it's just so easy for anyone to just look at, and that's the hardest part of getting into Rocket League is turning on that first game. That is the hardest part of getting into Rocket League esports. But I'm gonna diss them real quick right now. They're just driving that company to the ground. Like they're not treating Rocket League esports good at all. But even with that being said, I still think its ceiling has been nowhere near touch. Esports is general, its ceiling is probably still up there. Rocket League esports, we're nowhere near it. It's just we're in a very rough spot right now.
I think we got more to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can transition to this. I do want to know, if somebody's listening who's maybe in high school or maybe even just starting out college, I want to know what your advice is to like students aspiring to join esports, to go along with their studies.
Man, don't take it so seriously. At the end of the game, at the end of the day, playing a video game, you know, and that's what took me so long to realize. Like, I'm playing a video. Like, obviously, if you want to get to that level, you got to have some level of seriousness to it, but don't put everything else on the back burner because of it. You know, because as people are getting better and better, I mean, the industry's only going to get shakier and shakier on it if you can be the one to make it to the top. And I mean, that's the same for any kind of sport, you know. But since esports is still in its youth, put your time into it, but don't make that the only thing you're destined on unless it is a clear thing. Like, dude, I'm the next him. Like, I'm I'm that guy. You know. But other than that, man, like, be committed, you know? Don't take it serious, but be committed to what you're doing and just keep putting yourself out there. Keep shooting your shots, keep taking your chances. Keep playing your game. Keep playing your game.
If you really enjoy it, you'll get there.
Absolutely. Like, whenever I never would have gotten to where I am with my Rocket League career, if that's what you'd call it, if I hadn't just randomly Googled one day, does WKU have an esports team? Okay. And then I just joined the Discord. I'm like, hey, you guys got tryouts? Yeah. Okay. Hey, I'm gonna join that tryout. Holy crap, I'm making money off this now. You know, like, you just gotta take your chances. Like, look for your opportunities, keep playing your game. Play your game for fun until you need to play your game for serious, you know?
Yeah, I would say enjoyment probably is not, like, if you don't enjoy it, you're probably not going to improve at it.
Absolutely. Like, if there are a few games to choose from, and even Isaac, whenever he was coming in, I'm pretty sure he also played Valorant, you know? And it's just a matter of, oh yeah, I just chose to play Rocket League. I enjoyed it more. So, like, choose the game that you have the most fun with, see your opportunities, and take your opportunities. And that was a good line, so I'm gonna keep saying it. Keep playing your game, man. Like, things will come up. If you're on that level and if you're on the path to get to that level, keep playing your game and things will come.
Yeah, I definitely can attest to that. If it's just, there's no sense in playing a game if you dislike it or you see yourself disliking it in the future. It's just you're gonna hate it. Like, you don't want to get yourself in that situation where you got to back out of something because you maybe made a rash decision or whatever. I'm on the same page with you guys. I do want to say though, with the year that you joined, how many teams were there as far as what games? You mentioned Valorant and Rocket League. Is that kind of the two go-to esports teams, or are there different games for those who maybe don't want to pursue Rocket League per se, but were curious as to what other games are supported by esports?
Now, there are a ton of games that I've seen schools support. Western Kentucky University specifically, they only do Rocket League, Valorant, Overwatch, and League of Legends. But the ones you're going to see across most schools nowadays are probably Rocket League, probably League of Legends. A lot of schools have Valorant teams now, but if even if those aren't your games, there are Super Smash Bros.
Apex, probably.
There's Apex teams. There's Fortnite teams. Yes, there's COD teams. There's still Counter-Strike teams kicking around. There are Rainbow Six Siege teams. Like, find your game, play it, and look around. Because every school is different. No school has, like, there's not any blanket thing. It's just whatever a school wants to invest their money into. And I was fortunate enough that Western decided to invest in Rocket League.
Man, wouldn't it be so crazy to see, like, how we've got, well, of course, football and stuff, it starts, like, way back in elementary school. Wouldn't it be just cool to see the esports, like, creep into high school, like, where, and that can be, like, an academic?
right after we graduated. I'm pretty sure it was whenever I first started at Western. There's actually I'm pretty sure there's a Barron County esports team now.
No shot. Oh my god.
I think so. I think so. So, or at least someone told me there was a Rocket League. I don't know if it's an official thing or if it's just like a club. But I want to say that, right? If your school, if you are more set onto a school rather than a school that offers X game, go to the school you want to go to. Go to that school you want to go to and start a club.
Oh.
Start a club playing that game. Like, obviously, you're going to have to find your teammates now, but start a club playing that game. Because that's how Western Kentucky University started. They were just I believe it was League of Legends and Overwatch. Those were the first two. It was just a club, the WKU Esports Club. They got together. They found a janitor's closet that wasn't being used, and they just played their game.
Wow.
And then I believe it was like that for a year or two until they finally were able to gain the attention of the school, and we're like, hey, we're wanting to do this. We have so much passion in what we're doing, and we would love if you could support us. This is how the industry is going, and this is what's going on. And Western was like, you know what? You're onto something. Here's a scholarship. here's a better space than a janitor's closet to to play your tournaments. So if you are more set on a school than a school that offers your game, go to that school, start a club. Maybe you could be the one that makes the next maybe you could be the one that makes the WKU Super Smash Bros. Esports, you know? Like, you could be the one that brings that from a club to getting a scholarship for it. Like, you're going to be remembered as that guy who brought that into the school.
That's really cool. Yeah, I didn't know about that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, start a club and just keep pouring your heart out. Keep playing your game, and then just keep pushing, you know? Keep going to the dean, going to the principal, be like, hey, help. You know, shoot your shot. You're going to get it.
Yeah. Well, that's about all I've got, unless Jordan has something.
No, I think we've covered, aside from maybe the start of our Rocket League, I think we've covered it all.
Awesome. Yeah.
Which, there's nothing really crazy to how we started. It was, Gavin was like, hey, it's got cars.
Yeah. Yeah, Jordan didn't want to play at first. And I was like, because he was just a first-person shooter type of guy. I was like, come on. KYR Speedy played it. It's got cars.
I'd watched people play it, but I never got into it until you made me play it.
Yeah. As soon as we heard solar eclipses for the first time, we were hooked.
Yeah. R.I.P., man. I wish I could still.
Yeah.
Oh, there's got to be a mod, dude. I need to do it.
But yeah, Gavin, it's been a just treat having you on, and I hope sometime we can reconnect and have you back
Absolutely.
on the show. It was a lot of fun talking to you about your esports journey and what you all went through getting through college and finishing with the championship, no less.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was very fun to be on here. Glad we finally got to make this happen. Can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
I just want to thank everyone who has supported me along my journey to get to where I am now, because man, it just means so much. Thank you to my wife, my amazing wife, who never stopped believing in me through my ups and downs. Thank you to my parents, who, even though they didn't really understand what was going on, they were still like, hey, get your bag, son. Thank you to you guys. Thank you to all the other friends that just kept supporting, kept spreading the word. Like, there's been times where I'm literally out in public and like, you're doing that esports thing, are you? I'm like, I haven't talked to you in a year. How do you know? Like, so just thank you to everyone that that's just supported me through my journey, got me to where I am today. And most importantly, if anyone from WKU Esports is listening, thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you for the program. If it hadn't been for any of this esports stuff, I would not have been able to make my way through college. I try to say that every single time I get to talk about this. I would not have been able to make it through college had it not been for esports. So if anyone out there is in a similar spot where you're on the cusp of like being good enough for esports, shoot your shot, because like that might be all you got.
Wow. Yeah, that's that. I can appreciate that, and again, Gavin, I really appreciate your time, and guys, go check out Gavin. He streams sometimes. I don't know if you still do your one-hander Rocket League streams with your wife, but
yeah, once we get things more set up, we'll try to go back into that.
Sweet. Okay, guys. Well, with that being said, we'll throw it to an outro, and we will catch you guys in the next one.
Hasta la bye-bye.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the episode as much as we did. If you did, make sure you hop on over to our social media. Make sure you like, follow, and share all the podcast accounts so we can get the podcast out. I also want to give a extra little shout out at the end here to any of my Rocket League players. College students, anything, shoot your shot. Gavin was giving out some great advice, and if you're here from the WKU Rocket League team, I want to say I'm out there rooting for you guys. I'm happy to see you guys stop by. I hope you enjoy what we do here, and if you want to come on the podcast, reach out. Definitely love to talk to you guys. Gavin is one of the most chill people I know. I've talked to a few of you personally, so yeah, shout out, and we will catch you guys in the next one.